everyone, this is the amazing people of Glastonbury interview number 2, and today I've got David Greenway, the Glastonbury Town Crier, and one of the most wonderful people you could meet on the Glastonbury High Street. So David,
Good evening.
tell us, what is a Town Crier? Like
What
tell
is a
us
town
a bit.
crier? May I put my bell down? Thank you very much. Right, take that. My hair's a little bit scruffy while the lockdown. But what is a town crier? Well, I suppose really we go right back to the history of town criers. 1066, William Conqueror and all that, and he sent out an army of town criers to towns to tell people how it was going to be, and essentially that's what town criers were before the days of newspapers and radio and so on. Town criers would tell the news. We were the walking, talking, broadcasting newspapers really of the day, and that's what they do. It wasn't always good news too. It might be your taxes are going to go up or something, but town criers were there to give out the news. And when they'd finished, they used to nail up their cry to the doorpost at the local tavern for everybody to look at, those who could read. But that's why we had town criers, because most people couldn't read in the old days, of course. But I think town criers have now gone into sort of more a popular mode. It's just ceremonial now, and we turn up to open shops and start off motorcycle rallies and proclaim at big events and lead processions is what I do now. And people get their news by other means now, of course.
What's been your favourite event that you've ever cried at Glastonbury?
Oh, I think it's got to be the Queen's 90th birthday celebration. I was given a proclamation which was written by Prince Charles, and being the town crier, I was the lucky one to be able to read it from the top of the tour shortly before they lit the big brazier. They lit these braziers, these big fires from the tops of hills throughout the country and a few in the southwest. And so I was there proclaiming shortly before they lit the big fire, and I can still remember the hair standing up on the back of my head, because I really felt that I was part of history that very day. So that was an amazing event. It seemed like half of Glastonbury climbed the tour with us. It was something I should never forget.
Have you ever done a cry at the tour, David?
On the tour?
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, Beltane. Yeah, I write a blog, www.towncriertales.com, and in that blog there's a blog post all about Beltane, and I often go up onto the tour and cry on the tour for Beltane, and there's a picture of me there doing my stuff. So yeah, I do climb the tour. I get a bit breathless, getting on a bit now, but I do get up to the top, and then after a while I'm up for shouting. But yes, I've climbed the tour. In this regalia, we get quite warm in the summer climbing, as you can imagine.
Now, given that we're in Glastonbury, I know because we've talked about it, you've seen some funny things on the high street, but what's the funniest request you've ever had? Like, what's the funniest thing you've ever been asked to cry about?
Oh yes, yeah, I was doing my cry one Saturday morning. I think I was advertising a shop opening or something, or a fete, and a lady came up to me, really quite anxious looking lady from Ireland. She'd just come over from Ireland that day, and her daughter was singing in a concert in Chalice-Well, and she told me that a harmonium was going to accompany her, and apparently the harmonium was going to be supplied, and it wasn't. And she asked me, being the town crier, could I cry out loud and ask the population, the local population, if anybody had a harmonium that they could donate for the evening. After all, we've all got one, haven't we?
Did you find one?
So, I did the cry really loudly, and funnily enough, a guy walked past and heard it. He mentioned it to Steve at the butcher's, And Steve is a musician, and he knew somebody who played a harmonium, and a few phone calls later, a harmonium was supplied for the evening concert for the singer.
Oh wow, Town
So
Crier say
there you are,
today.
the power of Town Crier.
That's a brilliant story. So David, what's your favourite thing about Glastonbury Town?
Well, there's so many things. I mean, there's all the history, there's the legends, the myths and everything. But above all that, it's the people here. I think the creative people, the amazing creative energy that there is in this place. You know, we've got writers and actors, painters, artists, sculptors, photographers, the musicians galore, singers, drummers. You know, the list is endless. So many artistic, so many talented people. It is an absolute pleasure to see these people in action, whether it's a pavement artist or a busker. And I just love it. I just love the atmosphere, especially over, like in the summer afternoon, you know, like a Saturday afternoon in the middle of summer when there's thousands of tourists here and musicians playing on every street corner. I just absolutely love it. The people here are so friendly, and it's a little bit bohemian, of course, Glastonbury, and I think that's what I like about the place. It's different from any other town.
It really is. We're lucky here, aren't we?
We certainly are, yes. It's just, there's always something that just fascinates me and that I've never seen before. I mean, one of the craziest things I once saw was a man upside down with his head in a bucket, wearing a straitjacket. I think that's about the weirdest thing I've ever seen in Glastonbury.
I mean,
But come back to me in a few years, I'm sure something else will appear that is even weirder than that. Strange, weird things. I mean, people see me dressed like this and just, oh yes, they don't really care, you know.
Yeah.
It's only a guy dressed up in a 18th century greatcoat.
when I first moved to Glastonbury, one of my best experiences was walking around the Body Art Festival with you. And of course they
yes.
painted your head and everything.
They
That
did,
was a
yeah.
pretty cool ceremony.
That's right, yeah. I wanted to do, because I was starting it off in the evening and I was doing a cry out front on the catwalk, and I wanted to make a bit of a statement. So one of the artists had an idea of painting the top of my head in this sort of ultraviolet paint. You can't see it unless you're in ultraviolet light. So she did a weird bit of artistry. So I had my hat on, and then of course I do, you know, God Save the Queen, and then I bow, and everybody saw the artwork. Now, the Body Art Festival, that's a perfect example of the theatre and the art that's in Glastonbury. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. One of the other things that, if you know David, you know he's been a teacher for many years, and he imparts a lot of wisdom to everyone that he meets.
Say that.
He is. He's a wonderful being. And I was just wondering, David, as your last question, if you could pass on a message to the rest of the world on behalf of all of Glastonbury, if you could speak for the whole town and pass on a message to everyone watching this, what would you say? What would your message from the heart of Babylon be?
I think it would be a message of love and best wishes, love and light and welcome. And if you haven't come to Glastonbury yet, come soon and visit. You will be more than welcome.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you, David. And also thank you on behalf of all of Glastonbury for being such a good town crier. You really do brighten up the street when you're there.
It's only just because I've got a big gob. It's the only reason they've employed me. And you did ask earlier how loud my voice is. Well, I've got 105 decibels. I've measured it, yes. So
105 decibels.
yeah, I'm just a noisy devil, and I'm sure if my wife was here, she would agree with that.